Jai Hind Elroy, Jai Hind Aryan, Jai Hind Vedant. So we have gone through the biosphere and many of the aspects of this particular uh, sphere we have considered. So obviously it is termed as the life supporting sphere. So the existence of life on the earth is of on the basis of this one. That's what we can consider. So it's a portion of the earth wherein the life is inhabited, right? Or it is inhabited by the life or existence of life is there. So it's a part where life always exists, and obviously this will be including all living as well as non-living parts. And therein again one new terminology come in, that is called biota, which is nothing but the collection of just living things in the biosphere. Because here we are saying that all living and non-living. So again, you have to consider about the specific about these two. So that is what the biota, which is about the living things. So there are four major systems which are internally connected, or they are always connected to each other. That's what you can see here. So biosphere. Second one is the hydrosphere, because as in hydrosphere, you can consider all the water, ice, vapor, water vapor, etc. Right, in this particular case. Third one is atmosphere. That's what the air blanketing Earth's solid and liquid surfaces, complete blanketing of the Earth. And obviously, last one, you can call it as a geosphere, which is probably the upper layer of the surface of the Earth is lithosphere. That's what you will be having, geosphere. So features of Earth's surface. So it will be having the rock, sea, floor, everything right below Earth's surface. Further, biotic and abiotic factors which react in the biosphere, and so all these uh, are connected to one another. Again, there is a hypothesis by which it is said that the Earth itself is a kind of living organism, and that hypothesis is called GAT hypothesis. So This is what you can keep in mind. Later on, we have come across a kind of climate. So climate is which is the prevailing weather of the region, and that will be ultimately depending on different conditions which we can measure or which we can note down or notice on day-to-day basis, and that's what the weather is called. So further, we have considered that over the horizon of the world or all over the world, you can have various categories of these climate. So long-term pattern of the weather conditions across the globe, you will find out, right, by these different colors. So each of these colors is having certain meaning which are defined here. So according to that, you can come to know that in which country or at what place, what kind of climate is there. That's what you will be finding out from this particular graph. Further, we have seen that there are key factors that shape our area's climate, and obviously it depends on region to region. And that 4 factors are temperature, sunlight, water, and last one is the wind. So altogether, all these 4 factors are always making climate, or they will be always deciding the climate. Then apart from these 4 factors, you can have the land masses. That's what we do consider, right? So as the slopes, so again, both eastern slopes, western slopes, whatever may be their nature. So accordingly, they will again affect the climate. So not only land masses, but also the coastal areas, which tend to have smaller changes in the temperature, and mountains, that's what we are considering. So they have large effect on the climate, which causes the precipitations. Again, you come across a kind of new terminology called biomes, which is nothing but the forest. So there had been a large naturally occurring community of flora and fauna. That's what the forest, large occurring. Even grass is also kind of forest. Okay. ते आपल्याकडं गवत कापून ठेवतात. It's also a kind of forest you can consider. फक्त झाडच असायला पाहिजे असं नाही. Fine. So that all are, and therefore they are of so many different types, right, which are in general called biomes. So there are different biomes. Again, you can consider on the map of world, different regions are having different kinds of biomes. So altogether, these 6 different kinds of biomes are there: tropical rain forest, grassland, desert, temperature forest, taiga, tundra. So these are some of the ways by which you can classify the biomes and the various regions of the earth. So these are the 6 major, and each of these is characterized by a certain set of biotic factors as well as the ecosystems. So very first one that we have considered was tropical rainforest. It's in general warm, right? Abundant precipitation all the year and lush forest. You do have this kind of thing. And obviously it's a life supporting factor or life supporting thing. So what kind of or what sort of life is being there? That's just an example is being, right? Yeah. झाडावर कोण राहतं? पशु पक्षी जास्तीचे राहतात. असे काही then grassland biome, right? Primary plant of the grass, so which occurs in variety of climates. And if you consider, so here this is grass, and again this is also grass, right? And obviously life support for this particular animal, right? आपल्याकडे पण जनावर चरताना दिसतात, शेळ्या, राईट, किंवा आपण शेतामध्ये पण काही वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचे गवत, राईट, ग्रास प्लांटेशन करत असतो, जसं की आपण त्याला घास म्हणतो, राईट, मेथीसारखा दिसणारा, कोणाला माहित नसेल तर तो उंची खूप मोठी असते. So that's what you do have. Desert biomes, Okay, which is arid arid environment, little precipitation. There are four different types: hot, semi-arid, coastal, and cold. So that's what you can see here, right? Some of these, and obviously one of the examples as far as coastal, right? You can consider life support. Then this particular includes the deciduous forest, and this is deciduous pangal. ठीक आहे, याचं काल एक्झाम्पल आपण बघितलं की आपल्याकडे अकॅडमीमध्ये पण तुम्हाला ही झाडं पाहायला भेटतील. सो the temperate deciduous forests that have not summers and cold winters. So trees are the dominant plant species, right? So obviously the life support. And second last one is taiga, right, which found in the cool northern climate. Long winters are there and short summers are there, and wherein you'll be finding out such kind of forest, right, wherein these animals are live in. And the last one is the tundra. So as far as north, far north latitude with if you consider, therein you will be finding out such kind of forest wherein you will be having adaptability of these animals. So these were the 6 different biomes that we have considered, right? One more point is there: if you consider the polar ice caps and mountain, right, which are not considered as biomes, right? So wherein you will be finding out such kind, again this is kind of adaptability, barabar. So that's what you will be finding out. So as far as polar ice caps are concerned, right, they have no soil and do not have specific plant community. So that always found at the poles, that obviously north and south. And then most animals depends on in this region depends on the seafood. So whatever in the sea they can have it. Fine. So that's what you do have. So this is what as far as biosphere is concerned that we have seen. Now in conjunction we can consider, in continuation with this, the next point, and that is what the atmosphere. Right. So keep in mind biosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. So these are the different spheres through which we are going, or we can consider them. Now, if you try to know, or this is one of the most important that you should always know, because it is really in the real sense deciding many factors around us. So that's what you can have the, that's why you do have the atmosphere. So what do you understand by this particular word, atmosphere, right? So this is what the home planet of us. And if you try to define the atmosphere, which is the blanket of the air that surrounds the earth, and already we have considered this one. Fine. So it's nothing but the blanket of the air that surrounds the earth. So the atmosphere in the blanket of the air that surrounds here. So you do consider this one. Now you have to see what exactly this blanket is consisting, which is surrounding the earth. Right. So let's see some of the points which we can consider in this one. And these are really important because you will be coming across different layers which is having its own significance, and obviously you'll be knowing the importance of altogether the atmosphere. So to begin with, or to introduce, it reaches over exactly 560 kilometers from the surface of the earth. Then what would be beyond that, and then what would be the regions of these 560 kilometers? That is also to know it is your business, and you will be knowing what exactly is the atmosphere, what exactly is the each of this particular star. So this atmosphere absorbs, and you will be now realized that yes, atmosphere absorbs the energy. For example, if you have two things, one is completely black and another is white, so you'll be feeling the differences between the absorption of the energy. No doubt it is depending on the color, right? So as light, you can consider the atmosphere. Consider you are at very cold place, which is usually termed as cold, and right now where we are, so again you can experience the difference in the temperature. Right? That's what the energy, absorption of energy by the sun. It recycles water and other chemicals. Again, atmosphere. Right? This is very important parameter we can consider as far as chemicals is concerned. So recycling of water and other chemicals protects us from high energy radiation and the rigid vacuum of the space. हे कुठल्या तरी एका लेअर मध्ये आपल्याला पाहायला भेटेल. आपल्याला माहिती इन जनरल there is ozone layer, there will be the layer which is which is not allowing to penetrate the harmful radiations. So likewise we can consider, so through that point of view, it protects us from high energy radiations and the frigid vacuum of the space. Further, atmosphere protects and supports the life. I'm not talking only through the sense of human life, but also life on the earth in general or overall. So you do have this particular points as far as atmosphere is concerned. So atmosphere protects and supports the life. Now if you consider the earth system, already we have considered this one, but here the purpose is different, right? So yesterday it was just to show you altogether it is of all, right? This one, and this one are the part of this one. That was the point. Or biosphere contains all these three spheres, but herein you can see the cycle, right? So there are always two-way communications. Excuse me. There are always two-way communications. You can see here communication between these two. This is communicating with this one is communicating with this. This is having communication with this one, this is having communication with this one. This is having communication with this one, this is having communication with this one. Atmosphere is having communication with geosphere. Geosphere is always having communication with atmosphere, and geosphere is always having communication with hydrosphere, as well as hydrosphere is having communication with the geosphere. Excuse me. So here the purpose is that you should know yes, there is intercommunication in between all these. That means what? It's a communication, right? So, and this is really important, you should consider. That's what the earth system we can have, or we can also call it as ecosystem. Now in the atmosphere, if you consider, the main part is here we do consider. Again, that air is having different kinds of components or the constituents. So what are these compositions called composition of the air? So here you have nitrogen, oxygen, and other gases, and their percentage are also given, containing so many different gases. You will wonder that how many gases are there within this much small fraction of only 1%. So main constituent is nitrogen, and later on comes is the oxygen. So as far as other gases, you do have which can be carbon oxides are there, water vapors are there, methane is there, blah 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 blah. And so many other gases you can consider. So many म्हणजे काय? So here you can come across that particular 1% composition. So carbon dioxide is there, which is having its own percentage. Neon is there, helium is there, methane is there. All these are having its own percentage. Krypton is there, nitrous oxide is there, hydrogen is there, and also ozone is also there. Fine. So again, if you consider, so they have placed according to their percentage. So highest first, lowest later on. So you can just go through these things which are really important. So if you consider, you have these, or you have this particular okay. Sometimes this particular question have been asked. Following is not the part of the atmosphere. So आता कोणचा पार्ट नाहीये हे माहित असण्यासाठी हे सगळे असलेले माहित असायला पाहिजे, तेव्हा आपल्याला कदाचित लक्षात येईल. लक्षात ठेवा, 1% मधलं पण आर्गॉन इट सेल्फ इज ऑफ 0.93%. उरलेल्या 0.7% मध्ये इतके सगळे 2, 4, 6, 8. So that is what you can forget about the percentage, but you should know these names. Already आपल्याला माहित असतात. Only thing is that कार्बन डायऑक्साइड माहिती आहे, ओझोन माहिती आहे, नायट्रस ऑक्साईड माहिती आहे, फक्त क्रिप्टॉन मिथेन पण माहिती असतो. क्रिप्टॉन, हेलियम, निऑन ह्याच्याबद्दल थोडस वी आर हॅव्हिंग द अप्रोच ऑफ लेस से what we say of the less seriousness. Fine. So that's what you do have atmosphere in this one pie chart and a table. So 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and in 1% you will have argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, methane, krypton, nitrous oxide, and hydrogen. Yes, ozone. So these. Now atmosphere obviously it has a pressure. So we always experience the pressure. Now if you consider this particular picture, so you can consider you will be always here. So this is the surface of earth you do have, and here as far as away from the surface you will be going in this direction. So what you can observe from this, you observe that at the surface there is a crowding. At the surface there is a crowding. So what sort of crowding is there? So number of molecules are there. That means what? Obviously the pressure exerted at this particular place is more because it is more dense. So you can consider this part which is more dense, so having or exhibiting higher pressure. If you go beyond this, if you go away from this, you will find less and less density. Less and less density. If the density is less, then obviously the pressure exerted by this one or pressure exhibited would be the again less. So low pressure, and this is the equivalent. This is the pairing: low density, low pressure; more density, high pressure. So how would you define the pressure? In physics, already I hope you have gone through this one. So atmospheric pressure, which is nothing but the force per unit area, F by A. Right? P is equal to F by A, and that's what the atmospheric pressure you do have. So which is always being exerted onto the surface by the weight of air above that surface in the atmosphere of the earth. ठीक आहे, हे पुढचं सगळं नाही लक्षात ठेवलं. This is for your own understanding, from where it comes, who is it, and on what it is being exerted or acted. त्याच्यासाठी म्हणून हा सगळा खटाटो. Then the gas molecules closest to Earth's surface, which are packed together very closely. That's what the dense we are calling it as, right? So this one, dense. And this means pressure is lower the higher up you go into the atmosphere. जेवढं आपण वरती जाऊ तेवढं प्रेशर कमी असेल, and vice versa, प्रेशर हे जास्तीच असेल. Fine. So these are the 2 points we can keep in mind apart from the definition of the pressure. Now another example. So pressure in the atmosphere, how we can consider. So herein if you have experiencing the pressure. So how is pressure is, right? What I'm talking about atmospheric pressure. So it is equivalent to a pressure of a car. But where? So at a sea level, the weight of the column of the air above the person, obviously it is 9.8, right? So which is nothing but equal to the weight of a small car. Right? आपण एखादी एक्सपिरियन्स केला असेल, आपण म्हणतो पाण्यात जरा जास्त दगड लागतो, right? So you will be considering these 2 things. Now how the pressure changes with the altitude, that's what in the अगोदरच्या slide मध्ये बघितलेलं की if you go up higher from the earth surface, if you go higher from the earth surface, then you will see these things, right? So the pressure changes with the altitude. The pressure varies smoothly from the earth's surface. If you consider the top, fine. So pressure varies smoothly from the earth's surface of the top of the mesosphere. आता हे पुढचे त्याचे स्पियर्स येणारच, हे कळणार, आपण बघणार आहे. So this is what we considered. की तर density of the molecules is high, density of the molecules is low. At the same time, if you consider here the pressure, Fine. So how the pressure is being changed? So if you consider a surface, you will be having, or very close to the sea level, you will be having higher pressure. If you try to go away from the sea level in this direction, right, according to this altitude, right, so around let's say 0 or 1, right, altitude, you will be having around thousands of millibars pressure. So as you move toward this way, as you move towards this way, you will find the variation in the pressure. And that is what you can consider in this particular case. Fine. So that is what you will be having. So altitude, pressure,